Hi, I'm Ana Perera, the producer of San Cristobal with Amparo Aguirre.
Hi, I'm Omar Zúñiga Hidalgo, the director and writer of San Cristobal, and it's a story of Lucas who visits a fishing island in southern Chile and falls in love with Antonio, a local fisherman.
But how did you actually get to make this movie in Chile if you're living in New York at the moment, or have been living in New York for such a long time?
Well, it's a long story. I've been sort of working on this concept for a while, and I was doing this master's in New York at NYU, a university there, and in directing, and I needed to do a final project, and I knew it would be this or some shape of it. Mm-hmm. So we did develop it for a while, and then we wanted to make this short, and it was my final project for university at NYU. But also a first approach to the story that we want to develop further on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, you show the story of Lucas and Antonio.
Yeah.
And a big part of the story is also about the homophobic society around them. I mean, it's a small village, it's a fisherman's town. How is the situation in Chile? Is it very conservative in the countryside? Is it homophobic? Or?
One of the things that I was really interested in exploring is how Chile is kind of like caught halfway between something modern and something like old. Because there's definitely a lot of progressive action towards gay acceptance in general, and I don't know, like if you went to Santiago, that's the capital, like it's very liberal and it wouldn't be really an issue, but I'm really interested in how that is in contradiction to the reality of provinces, like smaller towns or regions away from the capital, that it still is pretty hard, and kids even till today get hit or, you know, violently threatened, or even though Santiago is kind of like an island in that sense, it's not throughout the country. So I was really interested in exploring like that tension, like how we live in that now. I don't know, like a civil union bill just passed last week, mm-hmm. which is groundbreaking for a very conservative country like Chile. So there's been a lot of change towards the whole issue, and that's great, but it's still kind of like halfway. So I was really interested in looking into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And talking about tension, you can also feel the tension between the two main actors. I mean, they see each other for the first time and they don't really talk with each other, but immediately they know they are attracted to each other and they sort of know about each other.
Yeah.
And I found it very interesting how that worked, that it worked via looks and not via words.
Yeah. I don't know. I think like it's like attractions can happen that way. They're very rational and like not very verbalized, and you just like feel something for someone anywhere, anytime. It's very sudden and random, and like that moment is kind of, there's that connection, and then we explore what happens after.
Mm-hmm. And a symbol you chose, I mean, it's also the title of the movie, it's San Cristobal, the saint for the travelers and for the fishermen. Why did you choose that one? I mean, on the one hand, for sure, because one of the people is a fisherman, but it also has to do with journeys, I had the feeling, but also in a symbolic way, wasn't it? Yeah.
I mean, not it wasn't like too drastic or rational. I was just really interested in like how some people like I don't think Antonio is religious like in a hard way, or like, but he would believe that in something or in some as opposed to Lucas, that's like more I don't know, more of an atheist, and like it's very small, but I wanted to explore the detail in belief systems, like they can be different in these two guys. And Antonio, like he wouldn't pray to it, but he would, you know, hold it in high regard or assign it value. And I wanted to show that, like how the different belief systems and how he can give him something of his that's very intimate to him, and that for Lucas, kind of like he's touched and he just feels that. And for the other part, like there was also this sense of like they're both departing, or they're both like moving to a different stage of their lives and their adulthood, and I do think that there's something about helping each other through that, and that story or the same story has something to do with that, like how two people like help each other cross something. Yeah.
Well, cross something, I had the feeling that they also had to cross lots of personal borders because they basically come from different worlds.
Yeah, very different. Yeah. Which always, yeah, that's true. It's they cross whatever expectations they have from each other and they challenge that. Yeah.
A character that was a side character, but which I liked a lot, was the grandmother.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't say much, she just has a few lines, but with these lines I had the feeling she's described very well, because she just says, well, this is not Santiago.
Yeah.
And you know exactly that she knows about her grandson, that it's no problem for her, but that she's also aware about the situation around, and that she's actually a very awake person, knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
How did you, well, what is your thought on this character?
I wanted to, well, I do think that like when of course they're very close to each other, her and Antonio as a family. They're like they're relatives and they're very close. So I think she was obviously aware. But what I like exploring is how in a community there's like different shades of gray of like acceptance. Like for Lucas's sister. She wouldn't have any issues with it, but then the grandmother represents like an older generation that because she's so close to her grandson, she can say that, but at the same time she thinks that it should be hidden or I don't know, less open. And I was really interested in sort of like exploring that, how people can have different degrees of acceptance towards it, and that's very common in Chile. People are aware that being homophobic is impolite or wrong, but they would still allow certain shades of gray within that. So it's like very interesting to me to observe that. Mm-hmm. It came from that, I think. Right, yeah.
You are the producer of the movie. How did you get to the project, and what was your role in producing the movie? Like, how many ideas came from your side?
Well, the project starts with a fund, a Ibermedia fund, no?
Right, fund, yeah.
Yes. In fact, we have to do a trailer, and with this fund, and we thought that it was a good idea to transform the teaser to a short film. Mm-hmm. So there was the beginning of the project, and then
right.
And then well, we shot it in Valdivia. It's not well. So San Cristobal, the short film, it's a long film.
Right. Well, yeah. I think what she was trying to say is that we've been working on this concept as a story as a longer feature, and we wanted to make a first approach to it, and we had been awarded this development fund, and we decided to invest it in making the short and showing people what we were capable of, and also introducing them to the story and to this world. And we're really happy with how it turned out, but we are also projecting to expand it further and ideally make a longer version of it. Mm-hmm. So that's in a very simple way, kind of like the timeline of how the producing kind of was set up. But in a very practical way, I had this idea and I approached Anna because she's a producer and we had friends in common, and she was really interested in the project, and we started working together. And she also brought on her friend Amparo, who is the other producer, who's not here with us today. She's in Santiago. And the three of us worked very tightly together in developing the concept and finding actors, and also they've been really great at sort of giving their thoughts of what the story can be or the script. And so we work very tightly together. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
this work, so this project was an opportunity to find the crew of the
right, to find the people that we wanted to work with. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, for the possible future feature film.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did you have the premiere yet?
No, it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow?
Yeah, there was a press screening on Friday night, and there's one tonight.
Okay.
But it's only for accreditation, so the open screening is tomorrow.
You were not at the press screening, if I understood right, because
I wasn't. Yeah.
But do you know how it was perceived, the movie? Did you hear anything?
I actually got this email from this British master's student saying that he really liked it and he wanted to interview me about it. So that was sweet, but that's the only thing I know.
Okay.
So I wouldn't be able to say.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you a very good and pleasant first premiere.
Thank you.
And well, maybe I see you here back again next year with a long feature film.
Yeah, we'll see.
And have fun at the festival.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having us.
Well, thanks for coming.
It's kind of like caught halfway between something modern and something like old, because there's definitely a lot of progressive action towards gay acceptance in general, and I don't know, like if you went to Santiago, that's the capital, like it's very liberal and it wouldn't be really an issue, but I'm really.
Hi, I'm Ana Perera, the producer of San Cristobal with Amparo Aguirre.
Hi, I'm Omar Zúñiga Hidalgo, the director and writer of San Cristobal, and it's a story of Lucas who visits a fishing island in southern Chile and falls in love with Antonio, a local fisherman.
But how did you actually get to...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, you show the story of Lucas and Antonio.
Yeah.
And a big part of the story is also about the homophobic society around them. I mean, it's a small village, it's a fisherman's town. How is the situation in Chile? Is it very conservative in the countryside? Is it homophobic? Or?
One of the things that I was really interested in exploring is how Chile project, and I knew it would be this or some shape of it. Mm-hmm. So we did develop it for a while, and then we wanted to make this short, and it was my final project for university at NYU. But also a first approach to the story that we want to develop further.
Make this movie in Chile if you're living in New York at the moment, or have been living in New York for such a long time?
Well, it's a long story. I've been sort of working on this concept for a while, and I was doing this master's in New York at NYU, a university there, and in directing, and I needed to do a final